Despite Lewis Hamilton's struggles and Red Bull drivers battling on track, budget caps remains the biggest topic in F1 right now. This is the second season they've been in place, but I bet you never heard anything about them last year, did you? While some teams are begging the FIA for a bigger budget, others are more than happy to stick to it. This is only going to become a bigger argument in F1, so you need to make sure you're in the know. Luckily for you, we're going to get you up to date. In recent weeks, the word coming from Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes, aka the Big Three, is that they can't stay within the budget cap that they agreed to in 2019. In 2021, all the teams had to adhere to a $145 million budget cap, and we never heard any complaints then. So what changed this year? Well, the new specification of cars means that teams don't have years of data to make use of when deciding on what to develop next. In 2021, Mercedes and Red Bull fought the development battle until the very last race, but their cars were already fine-tuned thanks to years of development. This year is different though. The new cars mean that the teams don't really know where to look first for improvements. The options for development are quite literally limitless, and that's a problem. For teams like Mercedes, who in the past have spent around $500 million in a single season, they're used to being able to explore every development avenue. The new budget caps are intended to stop that kind of spending, making the sport more competitive and a better viewing experience for everyone. Old habits die hard though, and in the case of the biggest teams, it seems you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Or maybe that should be an old wolf new tricks. The argument the big teams are using for budget cap increase is that the global economy is suffering from inflation at a rate they apparently couldn't predict. At the time we all agreed to those reductions, nobody could have predicted what was going on in the world and how that is driving inflation in every household globally, Red Bull team principal Horner said. We're seeing it in F1, we're seeing it with logistics, we're seeing it with energy costs. A phrase that's being said a lot by the likes of Christian Horner and Mattia Binotto is force majeure. Force majeure refers to a clause that's included in contracts to remove liability for natural and unavoidable catastrophes that interrupt the expected course of events and prevent participants from fulfilling obligations. That's what the dictionary says anyway. What it basically means is that when something completely unexpected happens that stops you from doing what you're meant to, you can't get in trouble for it. The Big Three are arguing that there was no way they could have seen this coming, and therefore they can't be held accountable for their mistakes. Alpine boss Otmar Szafnauer has been the most outspoken against the budget cap raise, and, in our opinion, sounds the most reasonable of everyone who shared an opinion so far. Most teams do their budgets in November, December timeframe for the following year, and we're no different, and at that time inflation was already at 7+%. RPI in England was 7.1, 7.2%. We took that into consideration when we did our budgets and laid out all the development work that we were going to do. And we're still within it. Where there's a will, there's a way, and we set a budget cap and we should stick to it. The top teams do need to find a way to limit costs. The Alfa Romeo boss has recommended they stop development, which is definitely an option. Or perhaps they could fly economy instead of taking private jets to each race. What do you think the Big Three should do to limit spending? Gunther Steiner has recently weighed in on the subject in his classically honest manner. It's mixing it up. I think, as I've always said, short term nothing will change, but mid to long term I think it will get even closer together. But therefore, we shouldn't now change the budget cap and up it because that is actually good for the racing in the midfield now, Steiner said. You never know who is the best of the rest, and I think if we continue with the budget cap and with the rules it will get even closer together to the big guys. I mean, we all have to make it. I don't have a job if I tell my boss I don't make it to the end of the season. That's my job. We need to do it, because if we don't finish the season, the next year you don't get any money. This is a really important part of the discussion. The teams can't not finish the season. That just isn't an option for them. It's more likely that they will go over the budget cap and face whatever penalty they receive. No team can afford to not get their share of F1 earnings. No business can spend $140 million in a year and then make nothing from it. That just isn't how business works. Gunther wasn't finished there though. I think there are 9 teams who are very happy about it if Red Bull has to miss races, because they don't get any money next year and we can divide it. For sure, Ferrari will be happy if they don't come to the last 4 races. For a change to the budget cap to happen, the Big Three will need to get every team on side, and at the moment, that just isn't going to happen. Teams like Haas and Alfa Romeo are finally able to be competitive in the midfield, and there's no way they're ever going to give up. The same can be said for Williams, and even though Alpine could probably overspend the budget cap, why would they want to? At the moment, the teams are being able to turn a profit, and the racing is more competitive than we can ever remember it being. For now, the budget cap won't be going anywhere, and that can only be a good thing for Formula 1. Want to know why Ferrari has the best car on the grid right now? Then click the video showing on your screen and I'll see you there.